Hi, I'm Michael Chighel, and here's a very quick peek into the Torah verse that tells us about the mitzvah of matzah. And after the peek, we're going to have a little taste, not of the matzah, but of the inner meaning of the mitzvah of matzah. Mitzvah, matzah, alliteration. Nice. The big, holy Jewish cracker. Why do we eat it in the springtime? Well, because the Torah tells us in Exodus 12:18 that in the first month, on the 14th day of the month in the evening, you shall eat matzot. Let's break that down. Not the matzah, the verse. You shall eat matzot. What are matzot? Unleavened bread. Bread that has not had a chance to ferment and rise, either of its own accord or because some leavening agent, like yeast, or in biblical times, sourdough, has been added to the fresh dough. How do we know that that's what matzah means? Well, the Torah does tell us just 3 verses earlier, 7 days shall you eat matzot. On the very first day, you shall remove sourdough, se'or, from your houses. So, kinda obvious. When do we eat matzot? In the first month. This means the first month of spring. As the Torah specifies 16 verses earlier, this month is to be the head of the months. In the next chapter, the month is explicitly identified as Chodesh Ha'aviv, the month of springtime. In the book of Esther, the first month of spring is called the month of Nisan, not named after a Japanese car, and Nisan has been its name ever since then. Now, what's the inner meaning of the mitzvah of matzah? Very simply put, the mitzvah of matzah is an integral part of the holiday, then the holy dinner, that commemorates the great exodus of the Israelites from Egypt. A holy dinner that includes other mitzvot, such as eating the paschal lamb, eating bitter herbs, recounting the story of the Exodus, and negatively speaking, abstaining from eating any leavened bread or foodstuffs. But what is to be commemorated above all is the unfathomable miracle whereby God took us out of Egypt. The Passover Haggadah points to Exodus 12:39 as the key elucidation of this miracle. And they baked matzah cakes of the dough that they had taken out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, since they had been driven out of Egypt and could not delay, nor had they prepared any provisions for themselves. The miracle inhered in the incredible speed with which the Exodus happened. The Haggadah explains that the dough of our fathers did not have time to become leavened before the King of Kings, the Holy One, blessed be He, revealed Himself to them and redeemed them. What's the special significance of this velocity? And notice that we're talking about the speed with which God revealed Himself to them and redeemed them. Kabbalistic Hasidic thought explains it in the following way. The fact that God created the world is something that can be derived more or less rationally, or at least intuited experientially. Most people believe in God in a general way. But the very first commandment of the so-called 10 Commandments enjoins us to believe in God as utterly transcending nature, as beyond reason, as supernatural. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of a house of slavery. This isn't God in general, God as creator of heaven and earth. This is the one who created heaven and earth, nature, as a kind of vessel in which to pour something supernatural, something completely beyond the order of nature. And so yanking the Israelites out of Egypt before they're really ready to be yanked out is an external manifestation of the miracle whereby the infinite truth of the infinite God is revealed to a set of finite minds that are not really prepared for this revelation. Imagine an average 8-year-old sitting in a university lecture on differential calculus. She is utterly unprepared, of course. Her math knowledge until that moment extends not much further than her times tables. But suddenly, for some reason, she actually grasps something about the rates of change and the slopes of curves on a Cartesian coordinate system. By some inexplicable miracle, her cognitive abilities have been stretched beyond their natural measures. This is the inner secret of matzah. Matzah is bread that has had no time to rise, a bread of distress. And yet, a bread that has the capacity to nourish, almost like intravenous drip, except a lot yummier. This unleavened bread stands for the miraculous cognitive and spiritual nourishment received by the soul, the actual knowledge of God, despite the soul's incapacity to receive such nourishment. Like learning infinity after one has just learned that 1 + 1 = 2, which is why the Zohar, the Book of Splendor, calls it Michla de Mehinuta, the food of Emunah, the food of faith. Just like there's food for thought, there's food for faith. I hope this has been some food for thought. Now, if you want some food for faith,